The Apple Watch Ultra has always been Apple's boldest step into the world of smartwatches. It is not just a watch. It is a statement. From the very first model, Apple made it clear that the Ultra line was built for people who live differently. People who climb mountains, dive deep into the ocean, run long trails, and push their bodies to the limit. It was designed for adventurers, explorers, athletes, and professionals who wanted more than just notifications on their wrist. They wanted something tougher, smarter, and more reliable than any other smartwatch available. When Apple introduced the first Ultra back in 2022, it felt like a turning point. Until then, the Apple Watch had been popular, yes, but it was mostly seen as a lifestyle device. A watch for fitness, convenience, and health tracking. The Ultra changed that perception overnight. With its rugged titanium body, huge 49mm case, sapphire crystal display, dual-frequency GPS, and depth gauge certification, it was unlike anything Apple had ever built before. The 36-hour battery life alone set it apart from the rest of the lineup. For the first time, Apple had created a product that wasn't afraid of the wild. It wasn't a delicate gadget you had to protect. It was a tool you could trust when hiking, diving, or running a marathon. The Ultra One was a success. But like any new product, it also left room for improvement. And in 2023, Apple brought out the Ultra 2. Now, the Ultra 2 was not a revolution. It was more of a refinement. Apple upgraded the display brightness to a stunning 3000 nits, which made it easier to see even in the brightest sunlight. They introduced a clever new double-tap gesture, which allowed you to control the watch with just one hand. And they expanded storage. These were good improvements, but for many people, they weren't enough to justify upgrading from the Ultra One. It was still a great watch, but it didn't feel like a big leap forward. In fact, in 2024, Apple didn't release a major Ultra update at all. Instead, they focused more on software, with watchOS 11 bringing new features across the lineup. Hardware-wise, Ultra fans had to wait. And that waiting created a lot of anticipation for what comes next. Now, in 2025, that wait is finally paying off. The Apple Watch Ultra 3 is about to arrive, and it looks like this will be the model that makes up for the slower updates of the past 2 years. Rumors, leaks, and early reports all point to major changes in almost every area: the display, the performance, the connectivity, the battery, the sensors, and even the design. This is why the Ultra 3 is being called Apple's most important wearable in years. Let's start with one of the most exciting areas, the display. The Ultra 2 already had a large, bright, and impressive screen. But the Ultra 3 is rumored to go even further. The resolution is expected to increase from 410 by 502 pixels to 422 by 514 pixels. At first glance, that may not sound huge. But remember, the Ultra already has the biggest Apple Watch display. That small jump in resolution, combined with slimmer bezels, will make it the largest and sharpest Apple Watch screen ever. And here's the important part: Apple is not increasing the case size. It will remain at 49mm. That means you get more screen real estate without the watch itself feeling bigger or bulkier. But it's not just about size. Apple is also expected to introduce a new display technology, LTPO3 OLED. This is the same type of display that debuted on the Apple Watch Series 10, and now it's coming to the Ultra line. So what does LTPO3 mean? Simply put, it's a more advanced kind of OLED that uses an oxide-based TFT layer instead of the older LTPS TFT found in LTPO2. This change may sound technical, but the benefits are very real. LTPO3 can deliver up to 40% increased brightness at wider viewing angles. It can support higher refresh rates, which means smoother animations. And most importantly, it's more efficient. In other words, you get a brighter, smoother, more beautiful display while also saving battery life. For Ultra users, this is a big deal. Imagine being on a hike, in direct sunlight, and still being able to read your screen clearly. Or using always-on display features without worrying about draining the battery too quickly. In fact, LTPO3 could even improve the smoothness of things like the second hand on the watch face, even in low-power mode. That might sound like a small detail, but it makes the watch feel more natural and alive. Of course, powering a display like this requires a strong and efficient chip. And that brings us to the new S11 SiP. Apple's watch processors don't always make headlines the way iPhone chips do, but the S11 is important. Not because it will suddenly make the watch super fast, but because it strikes the right balance. It's expected to provide the extra power needed for the LTPO3 display while also being more efficient than before. That means better performance without sacrificing battery life. What can we expect from the S11 in real-world use? For one, faster health data processing. That means quicker and more accurate insights into your workouts and your body. It also means smarter Siri interactions, since the watch will be able to handle more tasks directly, without always relying on your iPhone. And there's talk of new on-device machine learning features, such as offline fitness tracking, which could make workouts smoother and more independent from your phone. While the raw speed improvements may not sound dramatic, the real story here is efficiency. More performance, less power consumption. Connectivity is another area where the Ultra 3 could shine. Unlike regular Apple Watches, which often come in GPS-only and cellular versions, the Ultra has always been cellular-only. But now, Apple may be taking things to the next level with 5G. Reports suggest that Apple could be switching from Qualcomm to MediaTek for the Ultra 3's modem. MediaTek is one of the few companies currently developing 5G-ready chipsets for wearables, so this rumor makes sense. If true, this would make the Ultra 3 the first true 5G Apple Watch. And that would be a big step forward. Why? Because 5G means better call quality, the possibility of video calls, and much faster app downloads, all without needing an iPhone nearby. Imagine streaming data directly on your watch, or sending large files while out in the field. For people who use the Ultra in remote or extreme conditions, this level of independence could be game-changing. But it doesn't stop there. Another exciting rumor is that the Ultra May 3rd includes satellite connectivity. We've already seen Apple bring emergency SOS via satellite to iPhones. Now, that feature could make its way to the Ultra 3, making it the first Apple Watch with satellite support. Picture this: you're climbing a mountain, far away from cell service, and something goes wrong. With the Ultra 3, you could send an emergency signal or share your location with rescuers, even without your phone. This isn't just a cool feature, it's potentially life-saving. And it fits perfectly with the Ultra's adventurous spirit. Battery life is, of course, one of the Ultra's strongest features. The Ultra 1 set the standard with 36 hours of regular use and up to 60 hours in low-power mode. The Ultra 2 maintained that, but with the efficiency of the S11 chip and the LTPO3 display, the Ultra 3 could push it even further. Rumors suggest it may reach 40 hours of normal use and go beyond 60 hours in extended low-power modes. That might not sound dramatic, but for a smartwatch, every extra hour counts. Especially if you're on a long trip, a multi-day hike, or a diving adventure. There's also talk of faster wireless charging, possibly using a new MagSafe 2.0 standard, which would make charging on the go quicker and easier. Health and fitness tracking will also get an upgrade. Apple has always led the way in this area, and the Ultra 3 will likely continue that tradition. Improved heart rate tracking with multi-frequency sensors is expected, along with enhanced VO2 max monitoring for athletes. Sleep apnea detection, using advanced SpO2 monitoring, could also be on the way. For divers, expanded metrics and deeper certifications may be coming, which would make the Ultra 3 even more valuable underwater. Temperature sensing is expected to become more accurate, helping with fertility tracking and recovery monitoring. One of the most talked about features for future Apple Watches is non-invasive blood glucose monitoring. While this technology is still years away, Apple is working on it. And while it may not arrive with the Ultra 3, the progress made in other sensors shows that Apple is steadily moving toward that ambitious goal. Finally, let's talk about design. The titanium case and 49mm size will remain, but slimmer bezels will make the watch feel more modern and refined. And Apple is rumored to introduce new band options, including a metal mesh dive band, new rugged loop colorways, and possibly even eco-friendly bands made of recycled aluminum or carbon fiber. These small touches may not change the core of the Ultra, but they show Apple's attention to detail and its willingness to appeal to a wide range of users. As for price, the Ultra 2 launched at $799, and Apple is unlikely to go below that. With all these new features, 5G, satellite connectivity, LTPO3 display, the Ultra 3 could see a slight increase, perhaps to $849 or $899. Either way, it will remain a premium product. And the release date? Almost certain to be announced alongside the iPhone 17 in September 2025. So why is the Ultra 3 worth the wait? Because it represents the biggest leap for the Ultra line since its debut. A larger, brighter, and more efficient display. A smarter and more powerful chip. True 5G connectivity. Possible satellite support. Longer battery life. More advanced health tracking. And a refined design. All of these together make the Ultra 3 not just another smartwatch, but potentially the most capable wearable in the world.